Imagine a liquid so potent it can turn lifeless dirt into a flourishing ecosystem. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But what if this isn't fiction? Today, we're unraveling the mystery of a revolutionary soil elixir that promises to unlock your garden's true potential and grow the most vibrant plants you've ever seen. Walk into your garden and dig beneath the surface. What you're likely to find is compacted, pale, lifeless material that barely resembles the rich, dark earth that should be supporting your plants. This isn't just a problem in your backyard, it's a global crisis that's been building for decades. Industrial agriculture, chemical inputs, and erosion have systematically destroyed the living ecosystems that once thrived in topsoil around the world. When you squeeze a handful of degraded soil, it doesn't crumble with that satisfying cake-like texture. Instead, it sits there heavy and dense, or worse, it disintegrates into dust that blows away in the slightest breeze. The consequences of dead soil extend far beyond disappointing harvests in home gardens. Soil degradation threatens global food security as croplands lose their productive capacity year after year. Without thriving soil biology, we're forced into an endless cycle of synthetic fertilizer application that temporarily masks the problem while accelerating long-term decline. Plants growing in biologically dead soil are fundamentally weaker, more susceptible to pests and diseases, and produce less nutritious food. The environmental implications are equally dire, as degraded soils lose their capacity to sequester carbon, filter water, and support the broader web of life that depends on healthy underground ecosystems. What if I told you that this seemingly irreversible damage could be undone with remarkable speed, that lifeless, compacted soil could be awakened and transformed into vibrant, biologically active growing medium in a matter of days or weeks rather than years? The solution isn't a synthetic chemical cocktail or an expensive proprietary formula. It's a simple liquid that harnesses the power of living organisms to resurrect dormant soil systems and jumpstart the natural processes that create true fertility. The secret liquid that's transforming gardens around the world appears deceptively simple, often just a slightly cloudy, amber-colored fluid that looks like weak tea. Yet within this unassuming liquid swims an army of beneficial microorganisms, accompanied by the organic compounds they produce and the nutrients they've made bioavailable. This is actively aerated compost tea, and it represents one of the most powerful soil revitalization tools available to gardeners. Unlike the stagnant compost tea some gardeners make by simply soaking compost in water, actively aerated compost tea is produced through a process that maintains high oxygen levels, allowing only beneficial aerobic organisms to multiply while preventing the growth of plant pathogens that thrive in anaerobic conditions. The magic lies in the sheer concentration and diversity of life contained in each gallon. A properly brewed compost tea can contain billions of beneficial bacteria per teaspoon, along with beneficial fungi, protozoa, and nematodes that form the foundation of healthy soil food webs. These organisms don't simply add organic matter, they actively transform the soil environment through their metabolic processes. Bacteria produce enzymes that break down complex organic compounds into plant-available nutrients. Fungal networks extend the effective reach of plant roots, accessing water and nutrients from areas the roots themselves cannot penetrate. Protozoa and nematodes prey on bacteria, releasing nitrogen and other nutrients in forms plants can immediately absorb. Beyond the living organisms, the tea contains humic and fulvic acids produced during the brewing process. These complex organic compounds act as biological catalysts, improving nutrient uptake, stimulating root growth, and helping to break up compacted soil particles. The tea also contains natural plant growth hormones like cytokinins and auxins that the microorganisms produce, giving plants an immediate boost while the soil biology establishes itself. Together, these components create a synergistic effect that's far more powerful than the sum of their individual benefits. Watching soil come back to life after compost tea application creates one of those rare moments in gardening where you can actually see nature working in real time. When you first apply the tea, soaking the soil thoroughly to a depth of several inches, the transformation begins immediately at the microscopic level. Those billions of organisms you've introduced start consuming available food sources, reproducing exponentially, and releasing compounds that alter the soil chemistry. Within hours, if you had the right equipment, you could measure increases in microbial respiration. The soil is literally breathing again. The visible changes follow surprisingly quickly. Within 24 to 48 hours, soil that previously looked dusty and gray begins taking on a darker, richer color as the microbial activity increases and organic matter begins breaking down more efficiently. The texture transforms from hard and crusty to something softer and more crumbly as the organisms begin creating soil aggregates through their secretions and activities. If your soil was waterlogged and compacted, you'll notice it draining better as the renewed biological activity creates channels and pore spaces. If it was dusty and hydrophobic, water suddenly begins soaking in rather than running off the surface. The scientific explanation for this awakening involves understanding that most soils, even seemingly dead ones, contain dormant organisms and organic matter that simply lack the conditions needed to become active. Your soil might have adequate carbon but insufficient nitrogen to fuel microbial growth. It might have nutrients locked up in forms that plants cannot access without the enzymatic activity that living soil organisms provide. The compost tea delivers both the organisms needed to restart these biological processes and the immediately available nutrients that allow them to explode into activity. It's like adding a starter culture to milk when making yogurt. You're introducing the right organisms in sufficient quantities to rapidly colonize the entire medium. Within a week of application, plants growing in the treated soil display noticeably improved vigor. Leaf color deepens as nitrogen-fixing bacteria establish themselves and begin converting atmospheric nitrogen into plant-available forms. Root growth accelerates dramatically as beneficial fungi colonize the root zone and extend the plant's effective reach. Pest and disease pressure often decreases as beneficial organisms outcompete pathogens and produce compounds that suppress harmful species. The transformation continues building momentum over subsequent weeks as the introduced organisms reproduce, establish stable populations, and create increasingly complex food webs. The power of compost tea extends far beyond, just making home gardens look nice. I've actually witnessed commercial growers cut their synthetic fertilizer inputs by half or even more after they started using compost tea regularly. They managed to maintain, or sometimes even improve, their yields, all while dramatically reducing costs. The biological activity that the tea stimulates unlocks nutrients already present in the soil, which makes those expensive fertilizer applications, partially redundant. Water requirements drop as well, sometimes by as much as 1/3 to 2/5, because improved soil structure and increased organic matter help the soil hold on to moisture better. Community gardens in urban areas have even used compost tea to bring back life to contaminated or compacted soil that, honestly, was considered totally unsuitable for growing food. The biological activity helps to break down some contaminants, and the better soil structure actually reduces how much heavy metals and other pollutants plants take up. Within just one growing season, plots that used to produce virtually nothing have been transformed into productive vegetable gardens feeding dozens of families. The social and nutritional benefits of these changes ripple through entire neighborhoods, really proving that soil health directly translates to human health and community well-being. Perhaps most importantly, compost tea is a truly sustainable answer to soil degradation. Unlike synthetic inputs that need to be bought over and over and are made from petroleum, compost tea can be brewed right on site from organic waste materials that would otherwise just get tossed. The organisms and compounds in the tea stick around in the soil, continuing to work long after you apply it. Each treatment actually improves the soil's ability to maintain its own fertility, so you end up needing fewer inputs over time instead of getting stuck in a cycle of constant applications. This regenerative quality makes compost tea a crucial tool for tackling the big environmental challenges we face in November 2025, as climate change and resource scarcity mean we need agricultural systems that build up, not deplete, our natural resources. Creating your own actively aerated compost tea is actually pretty simple and doesn't require much equipment at all. Any gardener, no matter your experience level, can master it. You'll need a 5-gallon bucket, an aquarium air pump with an air stone, some quality finished compost or worm castings, and unsulfured molasses to feed the microorganisms while the tea is brewing. Fill your bucket with non-chlorinated water. If you're using tap water, just let it sit out for a day, about 24 hours, so the chlorine can dissipate. Chlorine, after all, will kill the beneficial organisms you're trying to grow. Next, Add about 2 cups of compost or worm castings along with 2 tablespoons of molasses, then run the air pump continuously for 24 to 36 hours. The tea is ready when it smells earthy and sweet, never putrid or anaerobic. Application timing and technique really do make a difference. You'll want to apply your tea within a few hours of finishing the brew, while the microorganism populations are at their peak and still super active. Use a watering can or sprayer to thoroughly soak the soil, making sure you apply enough to reach several inches deep, right where plant roots are actively feeding. You can also spray the tea directly on plant leaves, where it helps establish populations of beneficial organisms that protect against foliar diseases. For severely degraded soil, plan on weekly applications for the first month, then switch to monthly maintenance once your soil biology is back on track. Different seasons offer different opportunities to wake up your soil. Spring applications jumpstart biological activity as the weather warms up, giving your plants the best possible start during those crucial early growth phases. Autumn applications help process crop residues and build up soil organic matter over the winter, setting up fantastic conditions for the next spring. Even in winter, if you're in a milder climate, you can use compost tea to keep biological activity going and prevent the usual dormancy that comes with colder months. The key is, honestly, just being consistent. Regular applications create cumulative benefits that really add up over time. Start documenting your soil's transformation today. Take photos of your garden before you apply compost tea for the first time, and then, grab weekly progress shots to show how the soil color, texture, and plant vigor change over time. Keep notes on your application rates, the weather, and how your plants respond so you can develop your own expertise with this technique. Share your results in the comments below. Your experiences and observations actually help all of us learn, and help fellow gardeners get better results too. Every garden you revive is a small win against the global crisis of soil degradation, and together, we're building a movement of growers who understand that healthy soil is the foundation of healthy food, healthy communities, and, honestly, a healthy planet. Subscribe to the Living Soil Lab so you never miss another breakthrough technique for building truly living soil. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and share this video with every gardener you know who's struggling with poor soil or looking for sustainable solutions to fertility challenges. Together we're proving that the answer to soil degradation isn't more chemicals or expensive inputs. It's really about understanding and working with the biological systems that nature has perfected over millions of years. Your soil's second chance starts right now, and I can't wait to see the gardens you'll create once you unleash the power of living soil.